All right. Hello, everyone. It is now 8 o'clock, so we're going to get started here. I hope you're all having a great week so far and happy Wednesday. Um, so, to the routine stuff. Let me make sure that this is the case before I say so. Yes. Okay. The Q&A app portion is turned on the right-hand side of the screen. Uh, there's a delay between when you ask the questions and when I see them. So if you have a question you'd like to ask during the Hangout, please make sure you get in early before for example, I'm saying there's no more questions and I didn't see yours yet. And as always, if you miss that opportunity, I'm more than happy to answer your questions at any time through whichever means you would like to ask it. So please keep that in mind. One more thing is that if you are a community member, not through Photocracy, but through the community, I just made a post in the habits category. There's now a habits subcategory. Please take a look there. We're going to do some group work around the habits themselves. It's going to be 12 weeks. And no worries if you're not really able to participate right now because you're too busy. I'm planning on doing like a rolling 12 weeks of constantly going through and renewing short-term goals and what our water goals are, etc. So I'd recommend everyone check it out if possible. I'm going to start on Sunday, and we're going to go Sunday to Saturday for a week, and it's going to go 12 weeks. So please check that out. Let me know if you have any questions in the meantime. I will actually probably be asking everyone individually as well, so you'll probably hear this again before Sunday. So, all right. Well, I have two main topics that I wanted to discuss, so let's get started. Let's see here. Okay. The first topic that I wanted to cover was how not eating enough can slow down or even stop your fat loss. There are quite a few people that I've talked to recently that have mentioned that when they are incredibly busy, they forget to eat and are wondering how and why this is negatively impacting their weight loss goals. In these cases, I see people where they're eating 500 or 600 calories total for the day, and they're wondering why their weight loss is slowing down. Since the human body is incredibly complex, I'm going to simplify things a little bit just for the purposes of answering this question. So there is a calorie range that's different per person and kind of depends on what you eat too, but where the fat loss is going to happen continuously. Fat loss is not linear, meaning it's not going to be the same week to week and it's not going to be predictable, but there's this range where it's going to be smooth sailing for the most part. And my goal is to be able to help you kind of stay in that range and basically lose weight while still feeling full and feeling like you're eating a lot. You kind of want to be towards the top of the range so that you can eat more rather than at the bottom of the range. And there's a couple of reasons for that, one of which is being metabolism. So when you are closer to the range of calories that are needed to maintain your weight, the fat loss is going to be slower. On the other end, there's going to be a bottom line that when you're kind of right above that line, your fat loss is going to be faster. But the moment you kind of cross over that line, you'll start to become incredibly aware of how eating too little can negatively impact your health. You might get cravings, your sleep quality is going to crash, you're just going to feel lethargic no matter what. Caffeine's going to stop working for a little bit. Things like that, it kind of just all goes south really quickly. There's a study done during World War II called the Minnesota Starvation Experiment, and it was done with people that were objecting the war, but they volunteered to help do experiments. And they were basically systematically starved over a long period of time. Their calories were below starvation levels, and it showed that fat loss itself does not slow down. There's no starvation mode. So it's not that the metabolism is entirely shutting down. Usually when your metabolism slows down, it's in response short term. There is some changes in metabolism as you lose weight and get smaller. And as a result of being lethargic, you move less. So you then require less calories. So those are all kind of factors. You would still continue to lose weight on hardly any calories coming in on a long enough timeline. However, in the short term, when your body sees too few calories coming in, it perceives it as a threat to your survival in the short term. You're going to start to conserve fat in anticipation of a famine. You may start to burn fuel for muscle. You may start to burn muscle for fuel, and then again, you would lower your metabolism even more by the loss of muscle mass, which is going to create an unhealthy cycle. Usually what happens is you're basically not hungry all day and you hardly eat anything all day, and then you come home because you have now a smaller eating window, it's incredibly difficult to eat a lot of vegetables and lean protein sources and lots of fiber in a really small window because those things fill you up. What usually ends up happening is it's really easy to snack on high fat, high carb, high salt foods to get your calories into your hunger level, and then the calories kind of can get out of control. And again, that's kind of locking you in a vicious cycle. And those are the kind of calories that you're not planning for. They're incredibly hard to track because when you're snacking, you basically might not be cognizant of how much you're taking in. And this is basically working against what your stated goals are. If you want to lose weight, this is basically the worst way to do it, is pretty much my point. So after this period of when you're not really eating hardly anything at all, then you eat more, like, hey, I'm hungry today, I'm going to eat more. Your body is then kind of primed for fat loss. When your body perceives there's a threat of starvation, it primes itself to store fat so that you can make it through. We're not facing starvation or famines for the most part anymore as people, but that's basically what your body has been set up to do over thousands of years, is that when there's no food coming in, the first time there is, store it as fat so that you can survive a famine. That's just how it works. You basically, in knowing this, you can, make this work for you instead of against you. But if you're basically eating nothing all day, it's probably currently working against you and your goals. So again, you'd be storing additional fat, further reducing your metabolism. So as a result, being in the cycle of eating less and then eating normally, resulting in fat gain due to hormone changes and metabolism changes, is not a place you want to be. Like I said, this does not really impact fat loss in the long term. If you consistently eat no calories, hardly at all, you will lose fat, but you will be incredibly unhealthy, and you could do irreparable harm to your body for the most part. So I'd really ask that you kind of avoid that behavior, and please reach out to me if you need some help with that. So to lose fat and keep it off in the healthiest and most sustainable way possible, you have to walk that fine line of being above the bottom line and being below the line of being at your calorie maintenance. And that's kind of like the zone where fat loss is going to happen. And that's where I'd like to guide you through. So it's possible that if you're consistently hitting your goals and fat loss slows down, and it's not just a water weight fluctuation, that we may need to adjust your goals, because as I said, as you lose weight, your calorie needs unfortunately go down. And if you're tired from being in a calorie deficit, your activity levels may automatically decrease as well. So those are all factors. But my intention is to help guide you through that, walking that line of where fat loss is going to happen optimally versus where it's going to be weight gain, or you're going to be stalled out and put your body into a bunch of stress and cause your hormones to change. So I believe that covers that topic. If you'd like to discuss that particular topic more, please let me know and I can kind of go into some more depth. So the big topic that I wanted to discuss today is bacon and cancer. You might have seen in social media recently everything about processed meats causing cancer. You shouldn't eat bacon, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of been everywhere all over the place. So I'd like to kind of summarize this topic that might help you kind of make sense of all that, because there's tons of conflicting information out there. You have vegans that are saying that all meat is the devil and it'll cause diabetes and it'll give you cancer and it's as bad as smoking and it's as the worst thing possible. And you kind of have other people that are on the opposite end of the spectrum that are saying eat as much bacon as you like, it has no negative health impacts. And as is usually the case, the answer is somewhere in the middle. The extremes are usually called the extremes for a reason. So the facts here are being a little bit distorted in the name of being sensationalist journalism. I'm not going to really dive into the specifics of the study. If you want that type of information, let me know and I can give you some of the sources I'm looking at. But the two main takeaways are that processed meat is now a group 1 carcinogen to humans, and it's based on evidence that the consumption of processed meat increases your chance of getting colon cancer. And 2, that red meat might be a group 2 carcinogen depending on how you cook it. So let's tackle the red meat in general first. The data from these studies isn't incredibly clear, which is why I said it might be a carcinogen, and that's why it's listed as group 2 rather than group 1. So the cooking method at which you're cooking the meat is likely an important factor. It's speculated that cooking over coals, like charcoal or wood, and then letting the meat get charred, meaning black pieces on the meat, that's going to increase your risk more than anything else, if there is a risk. Basically, you could summarize it as pick different cooking methods. Don't always go for well-done steaks. If you know me, you'll realize that I would ask you to never go for a well-done steak because I think that's horrible, but that's neither here nor there. That's basically all you need to know about that particular issue. Red meat in moderation is likely fine. I can't specifically tell you eat all red meat. Should probably pick leaner protein sources and try to get more fiber in your diet more than prioritizing meat, or red meat specifically. There's way better ways to get protein than red meat, I think. Ironically, I had a little bit of red meat. It was like 3 ounces with dinner tonight, but I didn't cook it on the grill. I just kind of cooked it up on the stove. So, all right. So on to the bacon and processed meats issue. So processed meats means hot dogs, sausages, corned beef, beef jerky, and bacon, and any other meat that is salted, smoked, or cured. Usually these items will have nitrates on their list in the ingredients. You can buy nitrate-free bacon that's not preserved, which is a whole other issue essentially. But so the summary is eating these foods occasionally won't guarantee you to get cancer. But if you eat them every day in amounts around 50 grams, which is like 2 slices of bacon, these effects can pile up, and they do have an effect on your chance of getting colon cancer. So based on what the analysis of multiple studies show, the risk of getting colon cancer is increased 18%. But don't panic, that 18% isn't going from 0 to almost a 20% chance of getting colon cancer. It's 18% above your base chance. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you, all things being equal, including genetics, all humans have a 5% chance of getting colon cancer, regardless of any other factors. If you ate 50 grams of bacon every single day for the rest of your life, your chance goes up 18%, which is roughly now up 1%. So you go from 5% to 6%. So for me, I don't want to get cancer. I want to live forever or die trying. I don't eat processed meat every day. I don't eat lunch meat myself. I'm not saying you should not eat it, but I kind of view it as a treat. I don't eat bacon every day. I maybe have bacon once or twice a month, if that. I love the taste, but it's not a dietary staple for me, and neither are any processed meats like that. I do avoid them. This information and evidence has kind of been out there for a while, but like I said, it's not like it's going to instantly give you cancer or even guarantee that you're going to get cancer if you eat processed meats. It's really just kind of picking and choosing the effects that will pile up over time. And even then, you could potentially you could smoke cigarettes and eat bacon every single day to your 200 or 102 years old, and you'd never get cancer. It just doesn't work that way. Your genetics are a large factor in that, as well as all your lifestyle choices. So one thing that I see other people glossing over as they're discussing this is that the other group 1 carcinogens. Group 1 means that these are going to affect your percentage chance of possibly getting cancer. So the other group 1 carcinogens are much bigger of an impact. Their chances increase well beyond 18%. So the 3 big things on that list, other than processed meats, are tobacco usage, sunlight, and alcohol. So if you smoke cigarettes or chew tobacco, over the base chance, you're increasing your chances of getting some type of cancer 2,500% compared to 18% for bacon. So, obviously smoking is not good for you. So even if you ate bacon every day and increased your chances of getting colon cancer slightly, smoking, not wearing sunscreen, and drinking alcohol are going to have a much bigger impact on your chances of getting some form of cancer. So really, it's kind of like balancing the risks you're willing to take for your lifestyle. So if you smoke, if you drink alcohol, and you don't wear sunscreen year-round, but you're scared over processed meats and bacon of getting cancer, you're prioritizing the wrong things. If you want to minimize your chance of getting any type of cancer, it wouldn't be a bad idea to stop smoking or using tobacco immediately, to limit the number of alcoholic beverages you drink, to cut down on processed meats, and make sure you always wear sunscreen year round. That's kind of like hedging your bets. You're going to do all the things to avoid cancer. Even then, it's not guaranteed, meaning you could cut out bacon, you could never drink again, you could never smoke, and you could cover yourself head to toe in sunscreen year round and still get cancer. It's not guaranteed. It doesn't work that way. So just to give you some numbers, so there are roughly 34,000 deaths per year worldwide attributed to diets that are high in processed meat. Now, one thing I want to point out here is that people that tend to have diets high in processed meat are overweight and they don't exercise. And the rest of their diet doesn't include any vegetables. So all of these things are factors. And they are factors in other incidences of cancer too. So just to point that out. For even some more perspective, 30 to 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical exercise daily can reduce colon cancer risk by 30 to 40%, according to the National Cancer Institute. So if you exercise 30 minutes a day vigorously, the reduction in chance of colon cancer is greater than the gain in chance of getting colon cancer from eating 2 slices of bacon a day. So that's kind of one way to look at it. Also, you can lower your risk of getting colon cancer by exercising, losing weight, drinking less alcohol, and eating more fiber from whole grains and vegetables. And you should probably get regular screenings past a certain age. A vegetarian diet is shown to reduce the risk by 22%. Now, that's not really a specific indicator of everyone should go vegetarian to reduce their risk by 22%. There are plenty of unhealthy vegetarians that get cancer. But a pescatarian diet, which is one that includes fish, can reduce the risk by 43%, and that's likely having something to do with the omega-3 fatty acids in fatty fish like salmon. So there are 1 million cancer deaths per year due to tobacco use. There are 600,000 cancer deaths per year due to alcohol consumption. And there are 200,000 cancer deaths per year due to air pollution. So all of these are bigger, way, way, way bigger factors than diets high in processed meat. So I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to discuss about the topic. You're probably going to see it, at least for another week, people squabbling back and forth over it. I'd be happy to continue the conversation if you like. I have some other sources, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions about that topic. So let me just see if there are any other questions being asked. I don't see any, but there is a quote that I wanted to leave you with a quote, and it's from one of the cancer researchers that was part of this study. And he said that our organization does hazard identification, not risk assessment. That sounds quite technical, but what it means is that our group is not in the business of telling you how potent something is in causing cancer, only whether it does or does not. To take an analogy, think of banana skins. If you slip on a banana peel, it will cause an accident. But in practice, this doesn't happen very, very often unless you work in a banana factory. The sort of harm you come to from slipping on a banana peel is not generally severe as being in a car accident. But under a hazard identification system like ours, banana skins and cars would be in the same category. They both definitely do cause accidents. So that's kind of why processed meats, smoking, alcohol, and sunlight are all grouped in the same category. They definitely do cause cancer in some form or another. It's just the absolute or relative chance of that happening is not considered when they're placed in a certain category. All right, I think that covers everything. Everyone have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.